Rule number 15. A hero is only as good as his weapon. Okay, turning the lights back on. Had to do that. Put this back. Whoops. Oh no. Okay, that didn't work out so well trying to put that back. Okay, so I'm here. Let me turn on some things. My light, my little... So, we are here doing another review. Today is... Or not today. Now is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. I am wearing my riding shirt that I wear when I ride my motorcycle because for whatever reason, every time because I'm a movie freak. Every time I get on the motorcycle and I have this riding shirt on and I put my gloves on, especially the right one, I feel like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi, and Return of the Jedi is absolutely my favorite one of all of them. So, yes, Return of the Jedi, absolutely my favorite, and here I am to talk about it. As you can see, I took a few minutes and shaved after my last review, and came back to talk about Return of the Jedi. I scratched it off on the poster. So the cool thing is that right now, this is number 10 on the poster. The 10th one I've watched on the poster, and A New Hope was the 10th review out of the book, out of the 52-week challenge. So kind of cool that they both landed on 10, and I thought I'd mention that. A couple of disclaimers real quick. These videos are completely unedited, so when I can't put the lightsaber back like it should be, it stays in here. They are unedited, and I'm unfiltered, which means whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth. If you have kids in the room, you might want to ask them to leave or put it on headphones so that they don't hear what's going on or see what's going on, because I'm having a drink tonight. And I will talk about spoilers, but I will put a list of movies below this. If you've seen my videos before, you already know. I'll put a list below this of all the movies I mentioned, and I'll put a header, spoilers, so you know which movies I give spoilers away, which movies I just quote, and which movies I simply just mention. So just wanted to let you know that. I do have a fan on me. I can't keep this shirt on right now. It is way too warm in here. It is summer in LA, and it's way too warm to keep this on, so I'm going to remove it in favor of my unpaid movie critic shirt. And I'm going to throw this over where Tank normally lays. Okay, now that the fun part is over with, the little ridiculousness in the beginning, let's get into Return of the Jedi. It's kind of weird looking at me. I haven't been clean shaven for a very, very long time, so it's kind of weird seeing my face without the little goatee or any facial hair. Like I said, this is my absolute favorite. Still to this day, I've now seen all 9 of them and a bunch of the offshoots. This is my favorite. We'll talk about why. I've already said that Yoda is my absolute favorite character of all the characters. That still is absolutely true. And you would think, since Yoda has such a much bigger part in The Empire Strikes Back, that The Empire would be my favorite. But this is my favorite. This is absolutely my favorite. And we'll get into why, all the little reasons why, as we go through the review. One of the things I love about this is I talked a little bit how in the last review of Empire, how we get another level of Luke. This is like a quantum leap of Luke. Now, technically, maybe he's not a Jedi Knight yet, because Yoda later on says, you're not a Jedi until you confront Vader again. But he, for all intents purposes, training-wise, he is a Jedi Knight. And so now we get Luke the Jedi. And that is the saber I have is Luke's. Like I said, this is my favorite. I love Luke, and we get a whole nother level of him. I really don't care whether the green saber was a mistake or not. I know that when you look at the poster, the original poster, his saber is still blue. If I remember correctly, the original poster, the saber is still blue. They thought it was going to be blue. My ice thing just... Anyway, my ice ball just messed up and spilt all over me. Unedited. I know that it's common knowledge, or almost common knowledge. A lot of people know that the saber was supposed to be blue, but I guess when they filmed it and the background, it didn't look right, and so they changed it to be green. It wasn't a choice. It was a choice because of visual. It wasn't a choice. What I'm trying to say is it was a choice because of the visual, not because of the story, and everybody has a different lightsaber. No. I still love it. I love the green. Purple and green are my two favorite colors, and just the fact that he has a green saber, just the fact that he has a different color saber. All we've seen up until this point is blue and red, if we're talking chronologically released. So 77, A New Hope, 80, Empire Strikes Back, 83, Return of the Jedi. So all we've seen is blue and red, and now we get green. So we see that, Luke is on a whole other level, not just as a Jedi. He's more assertive. He knows, we're getting into that. He's more assertive. He's come into his own, and he has his own lightsaber that he made, and it's green. Because at the end of the last one, when Vader takes his hand off, we all know that the lightsaber, the fact that they find it in one of the new ones is just ridiculous. Anyway, I have my disdain, and maybe at the end of this review, I'll talk a little bit about some of my disdain for the new ones. Are just 7, 8, and 9 are just. No. Anyway. He returned to continue his training. Yeah, I know that. Okay. C-3PO and R2-D2 are back as like the comic relief, and the fun dichotomy between the two. You get that right away when they're going to we don't really know it, but it's Jabba the Hutt's place, and their witty banter back and forth. I love that they're back. I love that their dichotomy is so well written in this one, much like A New Hope. Really cool. All that you need for comic relief, like I said in one of the other reviews. And it's so funny that we get back to that whole, R2-D2 knows more about what's going on than C-3PO. C-3PO is always kind of going with it and kind of out of it. And the fact that we only get beeps from R2-D2, the acting and the writing is so well done that all we hear language-wise is C-3PO and then beeps from R2-D2, but we understand what they're saying to each other. It's so well done. It's so well written. And we know that R2-D2 knows more about what's going on than C-3PO. It's too funny. Jabba the Hutt is just so cool. This is the first time I see Jabba the Hutt. I think I said in the other review, this is the first movie I saw. Return of the Jedi was the first of all the Star Wars movies that I ever saw, and I loved it. And maybe that's partly why it's my favorite. That could be also part of it. But seeing Jabba the Hutt was like, that's cool. I think my brother had a Jabba the Hutt toy. If I remember correctly, he had a little Jabba the Hutt toy. He's a good villain. His little sidekick minion That little guy, I love him to death. He is probably one of my favorite side characters in like the entire saga. He is just too hilarious. He's got a really small part, but he's so funny and ridiculous. And you know, I do that to my dog sometimes. I do that to my dogs sometimes. It's too funny. He cracks me up, and to this day, that's still something. Like I said, he's made such an impact on me. He has no words whatsoever, but just his presence and his comedy has made such an impact that to this day I still do that. R2, you're playing the wrong message. Okay, so much like A New Hope, when he's like, just you consider replaying that message. When R2D2 basically tells him, if you take off the monitor, I'll replay the whole message. And then when he takes it off, he's like, what message? I don't know what you're talking about. This is the same thing where R2D2 is playing the message. I love what I'm talking about is not R2D2, but the reaction from C-3PO is just like A New Hope. So when R2D2 is playing the message and the message says, I give you a gift, these two droids, he's like, what? You're playing the wrong message. It's too good. It's too good. C-3PO is great. So this time around, I noticed something that I hadn't noticed before. And goodness gracious, how many times have I seen this? But I didn't notice before that C-3PO, human cyborg relations, he's an interpreter. That's one of his main protocols he's an interpreter droid. Okay, he speaks English to everyone, while everyone is speaking their own their own specific languages to him. I don't. Is English like the number one language of the entire galaxy? I guess that's what we're led to believe, is that English is the number one language of the entire galaxy. I just think it's funny that everybody understands English, so he speaks English to everyone while everyone individually speaks their own languages to him. Okay. So I did write a note about this. How I believe that if you've written a great score for an original film, an original score for an original film, and you win, even if you don't win an Academy Award for it, but you've written a score, and then you rely heavily on that score, the original pieces of that score, for the sequels. And this has happened a lot. Should you really be able to get a Best Original Score, another Academy Award for that? Or even a nomination? In my opinion, no. And I had given the example where, Beverly Hills Cop just had that... Just had that. That was from the original. And then the rest of the entire score was completely new for the sequels. So I guess in that instance it can. And the other thing I can think of is James Bond. Huge James Bond fan. Okay, so the big theme from Dr. No, the original James Bond theme, yes, that was written in the first one, and it carries out through all of them, except the unofficial ones, the comedic one, that Casino Royale, that really wasn't a James Bond, and the unofficial Sean Connery, Never Say Never Again, which is not an Eon production, Eon production, like all the others. But anyway, that theme from Dr. No carries through all of the other ones, but the rest of the music is completely new, because that's the only theme that they use and carry throughout all of them. So so I feel like a little different about those. Yes, those can probably win or be nominated for Best Original Soundtrack, because all they're carrying through is that one little thing. But this just has too many themes that he reuses and relies on. And I'm like, okay. Anyway. A Jedi. Yeah, see, so I wrote this note about Luke being a Jedi. Yes, he's not given the original title, like I said, but he is a Jedi for all intents and purposes, and his demeanor and his attitude are completely different than the other films. We get this confidence of Luke. His transformation in the 3 films from the beginning is so great. No wonder so many people love Luke Skywalker. His transformation is like night and day. If you watch this one and really enrich yourself in this one and watch to the end, and then you go back to like A New Hope and you're like, who is this? The characters are so different, and Mark Hamill does such a great job. I know he didn't really want to be in film. He didn't want to be a regular actor, film actor. He talks about how when he was young, I think his dad took him to the Disney lot. I think it was Disney, and he saw Donald Duck. The guy who did Donald Duck, and he was like, he couldn't believe that this guy who looked buttoned down and glasses and whatever, and this voice was coming out of this man. He always wanted to do voiceover, so being on camera and acting like this was not what he really wanted to do. I think he's a brilliant voiceover actor. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, one of the best Jokers of all time, just the voice in the 90s comic and the remake of Child's Play. Oh, he's so amazing. So he does some really great voice-over acting. Wonderful job. And then watching this, knowing that he didn't really want to be on camera, he does such a great job. He was meant to be an actor. I mean, it's just natural. He does such a great job with his character and the development of his character, and being able to play all the little pieces of him from when he's a farmer to when he's a Jedi Knight. I love his black outfit. It makes him stand apart from the other Jedi. I mean, we only know. Even in the new ones, he stands out. His black outfit stands out. I would love to have a replica of his black outfit in this film. Putting that aside, it makes him stand out. The only Jedi we know from the film up until this point, because we're just talking about the 3. So in 1983, the only Jedi we know are Yoda and Obi-Wan. And they both have these robe type things. Yoda's kind of dressed kind of like that in it. He's got it kind of rags. You forgive that because he's on Dagobah and whatever. And Ben is out or Obi-Wan is out in the desert, and he also is wearing robes kind of like this. So that's what we know of the Jedi: light colors, simple but draping. And here comes Luke, slim. Not where, I mean, he's got a cape on, but eventually he takes it off. Black, very well, sleek black. Everything's black on black on black on black. I just love the difference in the outfits, and he looks so good in it. I love the outfit. Oh, the creature underneath. So that big creature underneath Jabba. He throws the girl in there, but I don't think we see it at that point. It's not until he throws Luke underneath there, and the big creature that comes after Luke. I used to have a toy of that. My brother had a Jabba the Hutt, and I had the big creature, and I used to love that creature, and he was so funny, and I used to love that creature so much. He made such an impact on. I used to eat my TMI. I used to eat my cheese puffs. What do you call them? I guess they're called cheese puffs. I used to eat them like that. I used to put them in my mouth the way he put the bone in there and then crunch it. That's how crazy I was. I've always loved movies, always tried to mimic it. I remember having a fishing rod that was broken off at the end, and I was acting like Conan the Barbarian, waving the sword around and things like that. My mom's got a picture of me with a nasty face and that broken fishing pole because I thought, I was acting like it was a sword. Anyway, Oh, do I talk about this? Do I not talk about this? Do I talk about this? Why not? I could care less about Leia's outfit. That is like a huge deal. Even to this day, that outfit that Jabba the Hutt puts her in, that really skimpy, fun outfit, as a kid, I didn't understand what everybody was talking about. I mean, I knew I was gay when I was in preschool, so I was not out until high school. But I had zero interest in that, and I didn't understand why everybody was so enamored with her outfit. And I'm like, who cares? Like, whatever. Okay. That first big fight, when they're going to throw Luke into the pit, again, the character is so different. He's so confident. You know, he tells Jabba, this is your last chance. You know, free us or die. That first whole fight, again, I could care less. I said this before. I could care less about, Jabba the Hutt. I mean, Boba Fett. I'm glad he goes. Fine. Good. Get rid of him. But that whole first fight really shows off what a completely different Luke we have, and how confident and how amazing he is. Like, he is a Jedi. The way he's fighting off, half a dozen guys at once, shooting at him, trying to kill him. He's literally on the ship fighting them off. And then how he uses the Force at multiple times, how he jumps across the way, how he goes up, how, everything in that whole first part, the assertiveness of him, the confidence of him. We've got a Jedi. We've got a whole other Luke. And this just rams it home. That whole first beginning part. It just rams it home. This is a completely different Luke. I think to the extreme, it's better than like the beginning. I talked about the beginning of Empire Strikes Back, where we got a whole different Han Solo, because he's already proven himself as a hero, and he's changed, and we get this great, different, awesome character that wasn't in the first one. This also, we get like a quantum leap, like I said before, a quantum leap of a Luke Skywalker, and I love it. And this just shows it off. The whole first fight scene is great. Every little thing. Yeah, poor little old Yoda. He's still the best. I hated seeing him go, but it made sense. And it's hard to see him so old and frail, because we think of him as so wonderful and powerful. But he still has something to teach. He still has something to give. I love it. He's still absolutely the best. Well, 900 years old you reach. Look as good you are not. Yeah, I love that line. That line is so great. It's so fun. He's still funny. He's eccentric. When he tells Luke, before he goes, when he tells Luke there's another Skywalker, it's like a bomb is dropped. Like I asked in the other review, I wonder if you got to see this in the theater, like if you were of the age that you got to see these in the theater and go, oh my God, I got how long until the next one? And in the last movie, Vader, it turned out Vader was his dad, and and you might or might not have gotten that there's a link between him and Leia. But now we know, and I would love to know if you can tell me if you are one of those people who got to see this in the theater. I could ask my brother, maybe. He might remember how he felt. He was young when this came out. But I could probably ask my brother and say, how did you feel when he said there's another Skywalker? Do you already know that it's Leia? Did you already know? Or was the bomb that Yoda dropped on him a revelation to you too? Like, oh my God, there is another Skywalker. Like, I know in the other one, Yoda says there is another. But is it another hope? Because Obi-Wan says that boy is our last hope. And Yoda says, no, there is another. He doesn't say there's another Skywalker. Do we infer that there's another Skywalker? Maybe we do. I don't know. I didn't watch these in the theater. So at this point, now we know there is another Skywalker, undeniably. How did you feel about that? Do you already know that it's Leia? Are you as shocked as Luke is? I don't know. I would love to know. I would love to hear from you how you felt when Yoda drops that bomb on Luke, when Luke is like, holy crap. I wrote this note before I had watched 7, 8, and 9. I had seen 7. I hadn't seen 8 or 9. Obi-Wan and Yoda are the only two Jedi who disappear when they give themselves to the Force. Why? Okay, but then I realized, when I watched The Last Jedi, when Luke gives himself, he also disappears. Okay. They're the only three who disappear when they give themselves to the Force. That leads me to believe that my hypothesis about A New Hope, about Obi-Wan, wasn't really killed by Darth Vader. That he gave himself freely just before Darth Vader went to kill him. It just... Does it prove it? Does it not? I don't know. But it definitely lends weight to my hypothesis that Darth Vader didn't kill Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan gave himself to the Force, much like Yoda does in this and like Luke does in Last Jedi. The foreshadow of the end. So Yoda tells Luke that you must face Vader. When he says, oh, I'm a Jedi. Oh, not yet. You must face Vader. Yoda doesn't say kill Vader. He doesn't use that word. He doesn't say destroy. He doesn't use any type of... He says you must face Vader. Then Obi-Wan kind of alludes to the fact that he must face Vader as well. Luke says, I can't kill him. And Obi-Wan says, then the Emperor has already won. He is alluding to the fact that he must... A little bit. Alluding to the fact that he must kill Vader, but neither one of them actually say it. Is this a foreshadow that you don't have to kill Vader, you have to confront him, and whatever happens out of that confrontation is up to you? Not only is it up to you, but what you do will determine who you are after the confrontation. It's a wonderful foreshadowing. It's a wonderful open-ended, neither one of them say you have to kill him. I like that. I really did. I appreciate that more the more I watch it. The Emperor finally has a role in this. Instead of just being like the thing that shows up on the camera, he actually has a role, which is cool. It's fun to finally see the Emperor because we hear about him in the other two, and then now we get him. We get an actor playing him. We get a character playing him, and it's cool to see him and interact with him now. Am I the only one who likes the Ewoks? Okay, I don't like the Ewoks like I can watch a movie about them. They made an Ewok movie. I'm not about to watch it. No. I don't think that their species or whatever, I don't think that they could carry a movie. I'm not going to sit there and watch a movie about it, but I like the Ewoks in this film. The Ewoks in this film have a fun personality. Not every being is going to be as serious and sophisticated as human beings or as any other being that you've created in this. I love that he creates a being, Ewok, that are a little playful and fun, a little naive, but still very self-sufficient. They have weapons, they have huts, they have children, and they families and story time, and they make fire and cook food, and they have this whole civilization, and it's great. It's an evolved civilization, maybe not like computers and spaceships and things like that. But they are, to a degree, an evolved civilization. And I do like them. They're fun. It offers a little bit of comic relief, but not over the top. Not Jar Jar, not Jar Jar Binks. And I love that they have no subtitles. So we have again, like I noticed in my review of A New Hope, there are so many great characters throughout the saga who have no lines. Technically no lines. They don't speak English and they don't have subtitles. So it's relying heavily on the actor and reaction and the sounds, how well the sounds are done, or how do they do the sounds. And here we go, a whole race of beings, the Ewoks, who have no language to us. No subtitles, no nothing. I love it. I think it's great. I think it was a very smart idea. His compassion for what? What? Oh, this is the Emperor. His compassion for you will be his undoing. Oh yeah, he's talking about Luke. Luke will come to you. His compassion for you will be his undoing. Yeah, I have foreseen it. I think Luke has already, to this point, alluded to the fact that he feels a struggle within... Stupid fly. He feels a struggle within Vader. That there is still good in him. I think he's already said it. And the fact that the Emperor is kind of reminding him of his commitment to the Empire. And he has to remind the Empire, I am for the Empire. I am for you. I'm for the Empire. And this line really feeds into, his compassion for you will be his undoing. Luke is going to come for you. He loves you. He cares for you. He thinks there's still a hope for you. And I love that it feeds into the end. Because now we as the audience, up until this point, with the absence of the Emperor, up until this point, like I said in the last review, Darth Vader is such an amazing bad guy. And he is like steadfast in the dark side, and like just a constant bad guy, constant evil, constant, in the first two movies. And now we're finally going, whoa. Is he redeemable? Is he not redeemable? Because like I said, we can't think about 1, 2, and 3. We can't think about Anakin. All we can go from is these 3 movies. Watch them in this order if you haven't seen them. I've said that before. And if you watch them in this order, A New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, at this point, we now start to go, oh my God, could there be a redeeming value in Vader, like Luke hopes, like Luke says, and that line feeds into it. I love it. Oh, I love that. I love that the little Ewoks think that C-3PO. I always say that wrong. C-3PO. I love that the Ewoks think that he's a god. It's just a funny little, quirky little thing. I think the comedy is done just right in this film. It's not overdone, but it's done just to the right point. And this is part of it, having C-3PO a god among the Ewoks. I wrote this little note with a happy face. Ultimate treehouse living. I would love to visit their village. Their village is so cool, in the trees with all the walkways, the catwalks, and the stairs, and the huts and everything. I'm like, this is cool. I would love to live in the middle of nowhere like that, living off the land. That's kind of fun. I mean, maybe not forever. I wouldn't be able to do these videos if I lived in a place like that. But I would love to like let's visit there for a while. Let's take a vacation and live where the Ewoks live. That would be kind of cool, kind of fun. So here's another, we're going to go back and make the prequels, but how do we make the prequels line up with the ones we already made? So here's another issue, much like I've already pointed out in the other reviews. How does Leia remember her mother? Because he asks her. Luke said, do you remember your mother? A little. She says, just a little. Not really. Images, really? Feelings, really. I can't remember exactly what she says. But how do you... So... You can't make it line up 100%. You have to forgive certain things. And this is one of the things you have to forgive. Because when we go back and do the prequels, she has the twins, she names them, and then she dies. So how in the world does Leia remember her mother? Is she confusing... Okay. Is she confusing her real mother, who she doesn't know, with who raised her? Is that possible? I forget the guy's name. I know it's played by Jimmy Smits, right? Who does Jimmy... In Revenge of the Sith, find Jimmy Smits, play Senator Organa. Okay, so is she confusing what Luke is trying to ask about her real mother? Because we don't know. They don't show that story. Is it possible that Organa takes Leia home and she's confusing her real mother with Organa's wife and she dies at a young age? Or does she know that Organa's wife is not her mother and she's remembering, or she's supposed to be remembering her real mother? I don't know. This damn pen. I keep hitting myself with the pen. Anyway, let's move on from that. Oh, that scene is great when Luke says he has to go, and it's the same scene when he asks, do you remember your real mother? And then I have to go. I feel the good in him. And then Leia knows we're sisters. He tells her, we're siblings. And, the Force is strong in my family. My father had it. I had it. My sister has it. And then she kind of says, I know I think I've always known. I love that scene. It's so... We were just with the Ewoks. It was all just comedy. It was all just fun. And then now we get really serious and really... This kind of raises the stakes for her character. Especially for her character. And it's just a nice, lovely little scene. They do a great job with it. When he tells her, I think I talked about this in another video. When he tells her, there's good in him. I feel it. I can turn him back to the good side. I don't like that. The good side. I don't like that. It should be, if it's the dark side, and we constantly talk about the dark side, the dark side, the dark side, the dark side. We never call the other side anything until now. And he says, I can turn him back to the good side. Icky. Dark, light, not good. Because then it would be the bad side, and that would be too simple, too, what would you call it? Childish, good and bad. Evil, holy. What would be the other? I guess evil and holy. I just think the dark side and the light side, it should have been very clear. The director, the writer, they should have made it very clear, because those are the opposites, dark and light. Not dark and good. It's kind of icky. I don't like that. So I mentioned in another review, I don't remember which one, I didn't have the best father figure growing up. My dad was he was abusive. He was a drunk, or he was an alcoholic. He was abusive, physically, mentally. I didn't have the best childhood, I guess. Living environment. I'm not going to say childhood. Everything I've been through brought me to who I am today. This is not therapy, but what I'm trying to say is that I tend to really gravitate towards great father figures in film. Sirius Black is absolutely my favorite character in all the entire Harry Potter saga, because he is a father figure. He may not be Harry's dad, but he is absolutely a father figure, and well fleshed out and wonderful father figure for Harry. So I tend to gravitate toward these really well done father figures. Why do I bring that up? Vader is not a great father figure. I bring that up because one of the reasons why I love this movie is the other side of that. If you have a great father, can you have a great son? Absolutely. And Luke is absolutely the epitome of a great son. Why? Because his unwavering belief that his father is still in there, that there is still good, no matter what Vader has done, no matter what the Emperor has told him or taught him or manipulated him to, he still believes in his father and the goodness in his father. And that confrontation between them when he leaves Leia and he goes and he talks to him, and Vader takes his saber. That confrontation where he says, I feel the good in you. I love that. And that's probably another one of the reasons why I love this movie and I gravitate towards this movie so well, is because the other side of the great father is the great son. And Luke does... It's apparent in this film how wonderful a son Luke is, in his unwavering belief that his father's still there. When in that confrontation, when Luke meets Vader on the little catwalk before they go to the Emperor, Vader says to him, "It's too late for me, son. It's too late for me, son." So, he's already, you get it, you feel it. Even though what's coming out of his mouth is one thing, he's already starting to doubt it. That line is not just for Luke. It is also for him. Because he's starting to believe, he can feel that Luke believes in him, and he can feel the goodness within him. He can still feel Anakin Skywalker. And he has to reassure Luke and himself that I'm lost. I'm gone. And that's why that little pause, when they take Luke away, that's why that little pause. You can't... When you have a mask that doesn't move, especially not move with your face, it's really hard to act through, to get your point across through. The Friday the 13th movies, well, even the Halloween movies, I know they're horror. Okay, some people don't take those seriously, but there's got to be a level of acting that has to come through that, otherwise you won't believe him. One of the biggest examples, and I do hate to say bad things about film, because I know people put a lot of energy and time and effort into films, but that remake of Judge Dredd with Carl Urban, I love Carl Urban. He's done some great things. I mean, spot on as Bones in the Star Trek. I mean, I like him a lot. Okay, so that aside, whether it was his decision or the director's decision for him to have that ridiculous when he played Judge Dredd, it makes that movie completely unwatchable. Unwatchable. It's the worst decision, one of the worst decisions ever in film, to have that and that talk. And I'm like, what? What? No. The helmet is a character. Stop trying to overact act out of that character. Okay? Vader's helmet is a character. And it doesn't move. How do you act through that and not overact? How do you get that? How do you do that? How do you do it? With body language. Subtle movements. Shoulders. Head down. Little things will make a huge difference. And this... Whoever does the physicality... Who does do the physicality of Vader? I mean, we all know James Earl Jones does the voice. David Prowse. Okay, David Prowse. Hats off, absolutely, to David Prowse, because that moment when he says it's too late for him, when Luke is taken away, that little bit of head down, that little bit of... Just the little bit of body movement brings home to us, this is the first time we see Vader physically doubt that he is all dark side. And we as the audience know that now, and we're like, holy crap, this is the first time it drives us home, maybe he can be turned back to the light side. Maybe there is still hope for him. And it's all in that body language. It's not voice, he doesn't say anything, and it's not face because the mask doesn't move. It is literally all great, fantastic, physical acting, the body movement, the head, the shoulder, every little thing he does. It's brilliant. Oh, the Emperor having the confidence. So, we get all this great confidence from Luke. And Luke believes absolutely 100% that his father, there's still something there for us, but regardless of what comes out of his mouth. Because Luke does say in that little confrontation that then my father really is lost. No, he still has not given up on his father, and you know it with the confrontation with the Emperor. You know he has not given up yet. Okay, whatever, regardless of what's coming out of his mouth, he has not given up yet. But it's nice to see that great, like, unwavering, absolute confidence on the polar opposite is the Emperor. We finally get the Emperor, like I said, as a character. And here he is, absolutely wonderful, a wonderful polar opposite to Luke. Luke, in the whole film, is very confident and very sure of himself. And the Emperor is exactly the same on the dark side. Exactly the same. So confident and full of himself and sure that things are going to go the way he... Maybe a little more than Luke. Because Luke still has... I'm not 100% sure how this is going to turn out. But I definitely believe that my father is still in there. But he's not sure how it's going to turn out. Whereas the Emperor thinks he knows exactly how it's going to turn out. So maybe... the Emperor is a little more on the confident extreme side, but it's nice to see those two characters so on completely opposite sides and the same level of confidence and sure of themselves and going through. Okay, so I wrote this note: the battle in the stars that's going on, and the battle on the planet, the Ewoks and everybody there, are more or less inconsequential, but they keep us engaged and the story moving forward. What is really important is the Luke Vader Emperor. The outcome, the question, what's going to happen with Luke? What's going to happen with Vader? Is Vader going to turn? What's going to happen? Is the Emperor really going to kill them? Does the Emperor win? That is the important part, and the rest just kind of furthers us through. It's not necessarily fluff, because it's important and it needs to be there. But the what really is making everything hang on the balance, the really important part, is not getting the shield down, not destroying the Death Star again, not winning the battle in the skies. None of that will make the difference. What makes the difference, what's really important here, is Vader, Luke, the Emperor. What is going to happen there? That is where all our focus really goes. The other scenes, when they show up, we're like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is furthering the story. Yes, I'm good. But then when we get back to Luke, the Emperor, and Vader, we are literally like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Because that's what's important. That's what's going to determine what happens. To the galaxy. The Emperor goading Luke is so well done. His little jabs, his little goading him, and he feels the hate within him, is so well done. You know, you're foolish, pitiful band of I forget it. I'm not gonna try. I forget the lines, but his little goading and trying to like pull it at Luke's anger and vengeance and trying to goad it. It's so it's very well done. We waited until now to get an Emperor, and we got a great Emperor. What's the guy's name? Ian McDiarmid. I remember him from Dragonslayer. I love him in Dragonslayer, even though he has a very, very small part. So in this, he also he does such a great job with this. I mean, you would never know it was him, but he does such a great job with this character. It's like we finally get an emperor, and he's great, and we love him, and yes, we love him. The final Saber battle. Okay, we get that this is a whole other Luke. We get that this is a Jedi Luke, and it's not until now where we get a literal battle with another Jedi, a fantastic saber battle, that we get how far he's really come. He didn't have that battle with him in Empire Strikes Back, but he was also, he was also faltering a lot in that. Vader was throwing a lot of stuff at him, and he couldn't stop it. He didn't use the Force to stop it like Yoda does in some of the other ones. So we get, here's another level to Luke, and we get it when he finally fights Vader in that last saber battle, which is great. I love it. And then you start to see that real anger and hate coming through. I love that part where he eludes Vader. He doesn't want to fight him. He's saying he doesn't want to fight him. And it's such a great... Who had this idea? It's such a great idea. It's so simple, but who would think of it? And who thought of it? And such a great idea that Vader throws his saber. It's not a sword. I've mentioned that in the other video. This is not a sword. It doesn't behave like a sword. You don't have to be careful with it like you do a sword. You don't have to be careful with a sword nearly as careful as you have to be with a saber. I mean, a saber just barely touches you and you're burnt or you're hurt. A sword, depending on how it hits you, it doesn't matter. Any point that the saber hits you, you are hurt. And so the saber is going to do a ton of damage because it is a laser. So it's going to do a ton of damage if he leaves it on and throws it. Not like a sword, because technically a sword, depending on how it hits, depending on how it lands, may or may not do damage to a couple of things, maybe. But when you throw a saber, it's going to do all sorts of fucking damage. And I just love that idea. And that he just throws it because he knows. And he doesn't care where he throws it. He's just going to throw it because it's going to hit something. And maybe it'll hit Luke, but it doesn't matter because it's still going to tear shit up and throw him off his guard. I love it. Whoever thought of that did a great job. That was a fantastic idea. The final straw for Luke. So Luke really is like struggling, like trying to maintain the light side, trying to maintain his goodness as he fights, I'm not going to fight you. But the last straw is when Vader goes after his sister, and then that's the one family that's alive, the one family that he can still be with and have a family with, and he thinks Vader can turn, and that's his father, but the one true family member is still, he's been an orphan all his life, and now he has a sister, and it's a big deal. And then for Vader to go, to threaten the sister, it's so right. I'm not an orphan. I don't know what it's like to be an orphan, but I can imagine what the feeling could be like. Like you're going after the one family member I have left, and that's what breaks Luke. Not 100%. But enough for him to really just let his anger go, take off Vader's arm. He almost kills him, but he stops himself. Why? Think about it. If it weren't for the Emperor interjecting, he would have killed Vader. I have no doubt that in his frustration, in his anger, wrapped up in all of that, if the Emperor had never... does he laugh or does he say something? I can't remember. But if the Emperor had not interjected and just remained silent, Luke would have killed Vader. Absolutely. I have zero doubt. But just hearing the Emperor was enough to bring him back to making a decision, instead of allowing his emotion to drive what he was doing, which is what you're not supposed to do. Letting his anger drive and dictate what he does, and he would have succumbed to the anger and killed Vader had it not been for the Emperor. So we have the Emperor to thank. And once he hears the Emperor, he makes that decision. Like I said in the last video, Luke will always, we know from how he reacted when he found out that Yoda and Obi-Wan did not tell him Vader was his father. We already know from how he reacted to that he will always choose the right thing. This is why I hate okay. My distaste for 7, 8, and 9 is it's absolutely apparent in all these videos. Okay, so I that little boom you hear the Emperor made him come back to making the decision to do the right thing. And that's the Luke we love. That's the Luke we know. Absolutely. He makes the right choice. And that line is just perfect. It comes at a perfect time. I am a Jedi like my father before me. So it's not just that he has made the decision, the right decision. It's not that he has chosen the light regardless of everything and anything. He is also subtly giving a message to his father. I still believe in you. Even at this point, even at this moment, when I've almost killed you, even when I'm giving up to the Emperor, even at this moment, I still believe in you. That line is to his father as much as it is to the Emperor. Absolutely. I am a Jedi like my father before me. Is a line to himself. It's actually a line to all three of them. Isn't that interesting? It is a line to all three of them. It's a line to himself. The confidence is a line directly to the Emperor because he says it to the Emperor, and it's a line for his father because he still believes in his father. Such a great line, and it comes the writing in this is so much better than any of the other ones. You know, any of the 3 and 3. The writing in these middle three is so much better than any of the writing in the prequels or the ones after. Even though you know it's coming and you feel it, at that point you definitely feel it. Even though you know it's coming, because they're not going to let Luke die, it's still such a triumph, such an amazing feeling when Vader finally turns against the Emperor and saves Luke. It's still such a triumph. You know it's coming and you're still like, yes, yes. I love it. And he throws him down the fucking pit, and yeah, I love it. I love it. And it feeds into my last note about Return of the Jedi. It feeds into the last note. The last moments of Vader, when he take my mask off. Let me look at you with my real eyes. Now go. That last moment of him. This is what forgiveness is all about. This is what a second chance is all about. This is what redemption is all about. That we get this amazing character who is one of the greatest villains of all time, and we wouldn't love him nearly as much if we didn't already know also that he does, at the very end, he does the right thing. This is why we got a prequel of this guy. This is why we want to know, who was he? How did this happen? How did he turn into this? Because we know we don't have prequels about the Emperor. We don't care. That it was Palpatine? Okay, fine. That he was a Sith? Okay, fine. We didn't care nearly as much as we cared about Vader. How did this happen? Why? Because we were invested in Vader. Why? Because of this moment. Because of this moment, Return of the Jedi, we are so invested in Vader because at the end, he realizes the error of his ways. He believes in his son. And he gives of himself. He sacrifices himself. And it's brilliant. Another reason why I love... Return of the Jedi is just the best. In my opinion. Return of the Jedi is the absolute best. Love it, love it, love it. And after seeing all of them, I still think Return of the Jedi is the best. Okay. I'm going to take a couple of quick minutes. This is already an hour 5. I'm going to take a couple quick minutes. I did not write any notes like I did for 1, 2, and 3. If you've watched all 3 of these reviews of the Star Wars films, you know, because I have made it clear in all 3 of them, that I did not like 7, 8, 9. Sorry. Sorry to all those people who put all their time and energy and love into those films. I am glad that there are millions of people who love them. I'm very happy that it made tons of money. Great. Fantastic. Go with God. Be victorious. Fantastic. I did not like them. I did not feel like I needed to put any notes into any of them. But like I've said before in my videos, I really hate to say bad things about something because I know people put a lot of time and energy into them. So I will say a couple of things that I really did like about them. There's so much I didn't like about them, but a couple of things I did like about them. Can I remember each little piece that I liked about each little one? Maybe not, but overall, 7, 8, and 9. What I did like about them. Okay, the music was good. I liked that. The guy who played Finn. I'm so bad. I almost forgot what the first one was called. The Force Awakens? Okay, yeah. The Force Awakens. John Boyega. He is fantastic. Like, this guy's great. He's hot. He's fun. He's got a sense of acting. He's great. I love him throughout all of them. Okay. Do I like the character he wrote for him? Maybe not. I don't. I have issues with him, with the character, but not with John's acting. John's acting is fantastic. He does a great job. Okay. The little robot BB-8. At times I really like him. At times I'm like, I love the part with Yoda. When Yoda shows up, obviously Yoda's my favorite. I love that they went back to the comedy with Yoda, and they go back to Yoda basically telling Luke, "You don't know anything." Still holding on to the still holding on to the bullshit. Come on, guy. So absolutely fun, absolutely wonderful. There's a grandiose to it. All those films that I'm not sure I care about. I'm not sure I love. They rely too heavy on the old films for love and laugh and all kinds of things. They rely too much on I don't want to talk about the bad stuff. I don't want to talk about the negative stuff. I want to talk about the positive stuff. The Saber battles are pretty cool. I don't understand Kylo Ren's Saber, but I'm not supposed to, so let it go. There's not a whole lot I love about those films, and it's sad because I really want to love them because it's part of the saga. I enjoy 1, 2, and 3 way more than I enjoy 7, 8, and 9. So I guess maybe I should just not. I should not go into it. I've already said not my favorite films. Oh, I do want to mention that the poster has 100 movies. There are going to be not yet, but there are going to be films on there that I will watch and be like, I'm not doing a review of that. Why? Because I didn't like it, or I don't have enough to say about it, or I don't want to talk about it. I think I told you before that I was reading Quentin Tarantino's book, Cinema Speculation, and he talks about a lot of films in there, and there were a lot of films I put on my list, on my Netflix list, that I wanted to watch because he talked about it. He made it sound really good, but there's already been, I haven't watched them all, obviously. I just started. I watched maybe 6 or 7 of the movies he talked about, and there were a couple I did not like. There's no way I could do a review of Bullitt. I didn't get it. I wasn't a big fan of Deliverance, although I kind of understood it and I got it. Joe was just horrible. I did not like it one bit. But just because I didn't like it doesn't mean other people don't like it. And that's why I'm not going to do a review about all the things I don't like about Joe. That's horrible. Why would I want to do a review like that? That's zero. That's not fun for me. That's not fun for you. So I'm sure that they're going to be, that's why I don't want to go in depth into 7, 8, and 9, because overall I didn't like them, and I don't want to talk about all the things I didn't like about them. I mean, no, I'd rather focus on positive stuff. So there are going to be movies that I will watch from the poster that I will not want to do a review on, but I will remind you, and I will try to keep certain ones, like 25 is a milestone, 50 is a milestone. I would think 60, 70, 80, 90 are all milestones, and 95, 99, and 100. Like certain milestones, I will try to make sure that it's a movie that I want to review, or I think that I could review. Hopefully it won't be new to me and I'll know and I'll go. There are plenty of movies on there that I own or know. So at the risk of drawing this out too long, I will stop and just say Return of the Jedi is still absolutely my favorite. Thank you so much for watching. Whether you agree with anything that I said or whether you disagree with absolutely everything I said, I still thank you for watching, and I enjoy making these movies. I'm not concerned about how many views I get or how many subscribers I have. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about that is I'm enjoying myself while making these movies and talking about film. So thank you for listening to my ramblings. And I have no idea what's going to be next, so that'll be a surprise to you and a surprise to me. So thank you very much for watching. See you next time.